Welcome everyone, Lance Scurv X here, the Scurv podcast. Now I know really people do not want to think about nuclear war. As the title of this segment is, are we days away from nuclear war? We very well might be. And it's not a pretty picture. And I'm not here to depress anybody. I'm not here to make anybody feel down. But me as an individual, I'm not one who likes to plunge my head into the sands of denial. And we're at a point now where we can really see where this world is going. And all of these systems, these governmental systems that we feel will take care of us, they're not thinking about us right now. It's about the evil, the greed, money, power, status, control over the masses. The so-called elites, which could never be elite, as evil as they are, they have their underground cities and bunkers and food stored up for decades. Oxygen, water, shopping malls, all of these things are underground. So they're covered. But what about most of us? Even many of us who feel that because we have a luxury car or a big house or a big pension that we haven't made. No, we don't. No, we don't. It's all an illusion. And for me right now, I'm not going to say my heart is heavy, but there's a heaviness in my soul. The last time I felt that way, and that video is forever gone off of the old channel that was taken down. But I came home about 3 p.m. in the morning from work. I worked late. This is when I was driving the bus and working the second gig with Mrs. Scurv. And something told me to record something, and I did. And it was maybe about an hour, straight up freestyle. And many of you might remember it. And it was titled, "Something Bad is Coming." And you know I like to talk real. I like to motivate. I like to make people think. And I'm very open with my mind. But I felt this thing. Now this was pretty much the spring of 2018. And we know what manifested toward the end of 2019 and into 2020 with the reason why we had to wear a mask on our face. And that's quite a while. It wasn't like I said this and it was something that happened 2 weeks later. But the abstract way that I described it and put it out to the universe, even I forgot that I said those things. And people were telling me, well, Lance, I was listening to this and you described this pandemic to a T. Sometimes I'm on, sometimes I'm off, meaning that I don't try to force me being this prophetic voice. I'm like an antenna to a radio that's not always turned on. But when my radio is turned on and I'm centered, I know what I'm picking up. Now, it may not be outright nuclear war with a nuclear winter that's going to demolish 90% of the population and we'll have no food and it'll be the ultimate nightmare. It may not be that for everybody. It may be that for someone. Maybe something will intervene and it won't happen. Like I said, there are beings in our midst that we cannot see that feast off of the fear that many people feel. The low vibrations of lust and anger, fear. I know that. You can think I'm crazy. I'm just telling you what I know. You don't have to believe me. I'm not trying to convince you. This is why we have social media out here that keeps us trapped in the lower desires and separated, because there are beings on a spiritual plane that are right here with us, sitting right next to us, feeling what we feel in those lower vibrations and feasting off of it. This is why I keep to myself a lot, even more so now these days. This is why I don't even push myself online like I used to. And I still get a lot done every day, but it has to come from the heart. I'm not in some race with anyone else. I have nothing to prove. I think I've proven myself. So you can say I'm semi-retired, right? But I love doing what I do. And that being said, the question is, are we days away from nuclear war? And are we prepared? See, are we prepared for the world after war? When money means nothing, surviving the next global collapse. Have we ever experienced a global collapse? No, for the most part we haven't. But it can happen. And we don't realize how fragile the world systems are that we depend on. The internet can shut down and will shut down if there's some type of nuclear situation. You won't be able to transfer money. You won't be able to communicate with loved ones. You'll be isolated. You'll be forced to live off the grid. But at the same time, most of us have no concept of what that is. Now, many people think that talk of a world war is exaggeration. They think it is fear talk meant to scare the public. But sometimes the truth sounds frightening because the situation itself is frightening. When powerful nations start pushing against each other with weapons that can wipe out entire cities in seconds, that's not entertainment. That's reality knocking at our door. We live in a time where the world feels stable on the surface. People are scrolling on their phones, arguing in comment sections, and chasing the newest trends online. But underneath that noise is a tension building across the globe that many people refuse to face. The truth is that the world has entered a dangerous stage where one wrong move could change life for everyone on this planet. This is not about politics anymore. This is not about which political party someone belongs to. When bombs fall, they do not ask whether someone voted one way or another. War erases those labels quickly. In the end, what matters is survival, family, and whether you were prepared for the reality that arrived. Many people alive today have never experienced war in their own streets. It's something that you see on the news in other countries, and especially in the United States, where for generations the battlefield has always been somewhere far away. Other countries know what it means to hear explosions at night or see buildings destroyed. Many Americans do not. That lack of experience creates a dangerous level of comfort or lack thereof. The harsh truth is that we may be entering a time our generation has never seen before. The possibility of nuclear conflict is no longer just a movie script. It's something serious people around the world are quietly discussing. And if that moment ever arrives, life will change in ways most people cannot even imagine. Right now, millions of people are entertained every hour of the day. Phones glow in our hands like tiny stages of endless drama. People argue about celebrities, gossip about strangers, and fight with each other online as if those arguments matter in the long run. But while we scroll, powerful decisions are being made behind closed doors. Nations are moving weapons. Alliances are shifting. Tensions are rising in places that could pull the entire planet into conflict, whether we know it or not. The sad truth is that most people do not want to think about danger. It's easier to laugh at jokes online than it is to face hard possibilities. But ignoring danger does not make it disappear. It only means you will be surprised when it finally arrives. Many families spend thousands on luxury items that will not matter in a crisis. Expensive cars, designer clothing, the newest gadgets, the brand new phones. None of those things will help when food becomes scarce or supply chains break down. What will matter is preparation. What will matter is whether you thought ahead when others were laughing. What will matter is whether you protected your family before the storm arrived. If nuclear weapons are ever used in a large conflict, the destruction will not stop at the place where the bomb lands. The real danger spreads far beyond the blast itself. Radiation can travel through the air and settle into soil and water. Crops can and will fail. Livestock can and will die. Entire food systems can and will collapse. Scientists have long warned about the possibility of what is called nuclear winter, where smoke and dust rise into the sky and block sunlight for long periods of time. Without sunlight, farms struggle. Without farms, food disappears. And when food disappears, society changes quickly. People who once lived comfortable lives may find themselves searching for basic necessities. Grocery stores cannot restock shelves if trucks stop running. Trucks cannot run if fuel becomes scarce or too expensive. Imagine walking into a store and seeing empty shelves everywhere. Imagine cities where millions of people suddenly realize that food deliveries have stopped. Panic spreads fast when hunger enters the picture. In those moments, money loses its power. A stack of cash means nothing if there's no food to buy. A person with a bag of rice becomes richer than someone holding $1,000. Trust and believe that. That is when barter begins. People trade what they have for what they need. Skills become valuable. Seeds become valuable. Clean water becomes priceless. Preparation is not about panic. It's about thinking clearly before everyone else realizes the seriousness of a situation. The first step is understanding that modern systems are very fragile. Most cities rely on daily deliveries of food. If those deliveries stop, supplies run out quickly. That means family need to think about food storage long before a crisis happens. Simple things like rice, beans, grains, and dried foods can last a long time when stored properly. Water is even more important. A person can survive weeks without food, but only a few days without clean water. Another part of preparation is reducing dependence on fragile systems. Learning how to grow food, even in small spaces, can make a huge difference. Seeds and soil may become more valuable than money if the global supply chain collapses. Shelter matters as well. During a nuclear event, reducing exposure to radiation is critical. Thick walls, underground spaces, and sealed areas can offer protection for a period of time while the most dangerous fallout settles. Communication and community will also play a role. Families and trusted neighbors working together stand a much better chance of surviving than individuals trying to face disaster alone. None of these steps guarantee survival, but preparation can extend time. And sometimes extra time is the difference between life and death. Modern life has made many people comfortable, but also dependent. Most people rely completely on systems they do not control. Electricity, transportation, global trade, and digital banking systems run the daily world. If those systems fail, millions of people will be left without the basic skills needed to survive. Many people cannot grow food. Many people cannot repair simple tools. Many people have never gone more than a day without technology. That's the weakness of a highly connected world. When everything works, life feels easy. But when the system breaks, the fall can be very hard. There is also the issue of digital money. The world is slowly moving toward cashless systems. That may seem convenient today, but it creates risk during large crises. If the power grid fails or networks collapse, digital money cannot function. At that point, physical goods become the real currency. Food, water, medicine, tools, and knowledge will matter more than numbers on a screen. Many people will read warnings like this and laugh them off. They'll say that nothing like this will happen. They will return to scrolling through videos and arguing online as if tomorrow is guaranteed. But history shows that societies can change very quickly. There were people throughout history who went to bed thinking their world was stable, only to wake up the next morning in the middle of a war. Preparation is not about living in fear. It's about respecting reality. It's about protecting the people you love. The greatest mistake people make is assuming that someone else will solve every problem. Governments cannot protect every household during a global disaster. In the end, families must take responsibility for their own survival. That means thinking differently. It means spending money on what truly matters. It means valuing security and knowledge over comfort and distraction. Even in dark times, there is still a reason to prepare. Human beings have survived disasters throughout history. Wars, famines, and collapses have come and gone, Yet people have continued to rebuild. The question is not whether the world will face challenges. The question is whether we will face those challenges with awareness or ignorance. Right now, many people are asleep to the seriousness of the moment. They're entertained while history moves forward without them paying attention. But those who wake up now still have time to think, plan, and protect their families. Because when the world changes overnight, the prepared will have something the unprepared do not. What's that? They'll have a chance. And we as human beings are very brilliantly made with wonderful minds. But our minds have been hijacked and taken over, distracted. And as we think, so goes the body. The body is there to listen to the commands of our brains or minds. But if we're not thinking properly or have anything on our mind constructive and proactive, we're the only ones that we'll be able to blame for our lack of preparedness. And again, like I said earlier, preparedness doesn't mean living in fear. The fear comes when you realize that you're not prepared. When you're prepared, it's still unpleasant, but you'll have to pat yourself on the back because you thought ahead of time and around the illusions that are put as mental placeholders in our mind from scrolling endlessly through Facebook and TikTok. And even though YouTube can be an educational source and teach you things, human nature dictates that we gravitate toward the decadence. The decadence is not going to help you. We're being lulled to sleep while danger looms. And again, it doesn't guarantee that we're going to survive. But preparedness will give us extra time. So whatever you're doing right now or what you were doing before you saw this video, think about it. Is it really important? Is it really preparing yourself for a global disaster? Because if you can take care of that thought and be proactive in something toward it, you'll feel a whole lot better when so many other people are crying to the heavens because they don't have the resources to survive. I believe we should be thinking about this anyway. It shouldn't have gotten to this point where we're on the verge of World War III and we start thinking about these things. But while your stomach is full, think about it. The bigger cities, even way out in the country, but the bigger cities especially, you have police officers, you have law and order. But how many people live in the bigger cities in proportion to each police officer who might be concerned about going back to their home and protecting their family? When the supermarkets are empty and children are hungry, Mommy, I'm hungry. Daddy, I'm hungry. I don't have any food. To hear that will drive most law-abiding citizens after a time to do what they have to do to get food in their children's mouths while they're hungry. And they're going to get hungry and want to eat too. And if it seems like you have something stored up, they might come to your home to take what they need. Are you willing to protect yourself? Or have you thought about that? That we will become our own worst enemy. In these big cities that are so convenient because the systems are working so smooth. For now. What happens when you can't get to your cash? Because the power grid is down. The internet is down. All you have is what you have in your pocket. And what worth is it when there's no food? What worth is it when there's no electricity and you can't turn on the radio to hear what's going on? And with electronics being pulsed out from these vibrations from nuclear war, even if you have solar, it may not work. So what can we do? There's so many things that I can say about preparedness. There's so many things that I've showcased with wonderful guests like Brother Dave Wren, who told us years ago how to prepare and what can happen. And while many of those shows have been banished, I'd like to start talking like that again, because for some, it will save us. For some. But for others, we're going to still stick our heads in the sands of denial and pretend that everything is going to be all right, while also whistling at night past the graveyard. It's just how we've become. We've morphed into something different than what our ancestors were, as they were more self-sufficient. Could you get up and get your breakfast from nature by digging up the potatoes, getting your rice, your vegetables, hunting to get the meat that you may need, or have some chickens in a chicken coop growing that's not injected with drugs? You'd fare better, or you'd be better off. You'd have a feeling of independence, and you'd empower yourself. But to go to work in the morning and go through the McDonald's drive-thru, fast food joint drive-thru, eating French fries in the morning, soda in the morning, sugary coffee in the morning, a lot of us would be better off by going off the grill. We'd be healthier. Up here in the mountains of West Africa, on the outskirts of Accra, Ghana, I see some physical specimens who live off the land, and they are healthy. You can see the health vibrating off of them, the glow of their complexion, the strong teeth that they have, the clear eyes that they have, the intuition that they have from being so connected to earth, and the joy that they have in their hearts, which didn't come from gadgets or lots of cash or money or the latest car and designer fashions or the latest hairstyle or jewelry. A lot of them are poor, but they're richer than most. And that's something we have to think about, and that's something that we're going to have to ponder. Even if there was no nuclear war, I'm not trying to call it into existence, but the mere thought of it is making us get up on our P's and Q's to see and evaluate where we stand as far as self-sufficiency. So if the threat of nuclear war dissipates over the next few days, don't stop thinking that something won't happen. Get on your P's and Q's and still prepare. You can eat the food that you store up and rotate it. Doesn't mean it just has to sit, but as you eat it, you replenish it. I myself am building a separate structure and one of the rooms in my home to store food, to have my own physical store, which my backyard will grow things for me, but I'll know how to store it away in glass jars, temperature controlled, off of the ground. Have my crates and have my shelves built. And I actually want to build it like it is a mini store. Stuff on the shelves that can last there for years. There's other things that you can eat that won't last. Some things can. And in survival mode, you will eat them. Me, myself, for when I used to do competitive bodybuilding, I'm used to eating the same things every day. So that part of it doesn't bother me. I don't have to find myself at restaurants, fast food joints. I don't need that kind of variety. My mind is trained and strong for that. And we're going to have to train our minds in so many different ways. Because what might come will separate those who are the strong away from others who may have looked strong, but are mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically weak. The testing grounds might be here for us. Are you ready? Because the time is at hand. And hopefully not. But like I said before, if it doesn't happen, consider ourselves blessed, but start to prepare anyway. Let me know about what I shared with you. It's not about doom and gloom, but I'm feeling a heavy energy around me. And it's not good. And I still have to talk about it. But yet I remain positive. I remain motivated. I remain thinking the best is ahead of me while I prepare for the possible worst that might come. Because every single day, just like right now, I'm enjoying myself. I feel good in this moment because this moment is all that I have. And I'm going to continue to live that way until my Creator calls me back to the next level. Let me know what you think. Lance Scurv X out. On to the next one. And let's continue these type of conversations. So long, till next time. Peace.